Let me take you on a trip overseas. Overseas. Shawty, I got what you need. What you need. What you need. Let me take you on a trip across the water. Let me take you across the water. Till the money's in to get you started.
Please welcome Big Pap to the lit stage.
Sounds production.
What up, tell me how it feel to put everything you got on the beat. In the nigga trying to trick you out your spot in the street. I got love for everybody who been rockin' with me, but the plug done drop the ticket. You can cop it from me. I'm back trap. 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 Pack touchdown at the runs. Ain't had no pressure in months. Send out the text with the gas emotion. Back in the trap and I'm fully loaded. This shit so fucking my ass running. Might make a couple more bands. Got a be going 900. This shit gon' cost you $1,000. Sales running daily like churches. Trying to collect it like churches. Make you go clean out your shoe box. Grandma through old lady purses. Ain't got no paper, you worthless. Need to come make you a purchase. I got the strongest shit in the city. You smoking trash, you ain't fucking with me. I'm on the ass, they ain't fucking with me. Fuck with Jamaicans like in our town. Cinnamons cut through the kiosk. Watch them straight out in a Fiat. Shit started way back to Fila. Head moving fast as a cheetah. Little nigga follow the leader. It ain't too many can keep up. So put everything you got on the beat. In trying to trick you out your spot in the street. I got love for everybody who been rockin' with me, but the plug done drop the ticket. You can cop it from me. I'm back trap. 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 You nigga don't mean me no good. Cause I'm supposed to be locked in the studio, but I can't hit it. I'm back in the hood. I've been up early, I had a free play. I won't listen, you stick up a J. My looking status, your looking fugazi. Too busy shining to walk in the shade. Had to remember it's levels to this. Foot on the gas, I can't handle this. Really a boss, I can't handle the bitch. Send her to get it, she handling biz. How you the plug but don't see about your kid? How you show love but don't fuck with the hood? How you got M's and your family ain't eating? Sick shit coming but still let you do it. Something to say I had love for you. So that when I see you, you know it's on sight. Pass the Mayans out there, all of my hitters. Knock that bitch down and go catch us a flight. Somewhere in Cali, just knocked a new plug. Pay for a cash, you gon' ship it tonight. Back in the trap with a belly exotic. Brick of that brown, couple O's of that white. How it feel to put everything you got on the beat. In the nook and try to trick you out your spot in the street. I got love for everybody who been rockin' with me, but the plug gon' drop the ticket. You can cop it from me. I'm back trap. 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 I'm back trap.
Yo, what's up, world? It's Mike Killer here, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just want to shout out my homegirl. I just got off the stage, man, rocking with my homegirl, Lil Lovely Lisa, man, at the Lil Lovely Lisa show. And, man, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate her. But, you know, let me use the platform, man. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for any of my music or you need to find me on social media, it's Pap Hayes on Facebook. And it's Big Pap, D.A. Mike Killer on Instagram. And also I have my YouTube page. You know, follow me on my YouTube channel at Big Pap the Mike Killer, BWMG. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Wayne Money Gang. Other than that, man, I got a lot of things going on, man. We got Tsunami out right now. You know what I'm saying? Tsunami Year of the Drip is the album out now. You know what I'm saying? With a couple new hot singles, O6 Gucci Mane, social media, back trapping, and up. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you can go on there and you can find the whole EP really just dope. You feel what I'm saying? So you just go on there and check out the EP. And you want to see it in my videos or you want some of the streaming platforms. I'm on all platforms, so I don't just know the name on every platform, but if you're on Spotify, Apple Music, anything, you know, you can just look me up. Then, man, we just cooled it, man. You know what I'm saying? Little TV, man. Shout out everybody.
ATF Visions, we are the wave of video technologies. Providing video for over a combined 25 years. ATF Visions, cinematic views and expressions. Sound and audio enhancements. Multi-camera operations. Weddings and all of your memorable moments. Providing high-quality live streams. Call us today for your free quote at 901-690-4441 or 910-601-8609. ATF Visions. A lit moment in Black history. Let's take a look back at James Baldwin, an African-American icon.
What is relevant about this is that whereas 40 years ago when I was born, the question of having to deal with what is unspoken by the subjugated, what is never said to the master, rather having to deal with this reality was a very remote possibility. It was in no one's mind. When I was growing up, I was taught in American history books that Africa had no history, and neither did I. That I was a savage, about whom the less said the better, who had been saved by Europe and brought to America. And of course, I believed it. I didn't have much choice. Those are the only books there were. Everyone else seemed to agree. If you walk out of Harlem, ride out of Harlem, downtown, the world agrees. What you see is much bigger, cleaner, whiter, richer, safer than where you are. They collect the garbage. People obviously can pay their life insurance. The children look happy, safe. You're not. And you go back home. And it would seem then, of course, that it's an act of God, that this is true, that you belong where white people have put you. It is only since the Second World War that there's been a counter-image in the world, and that image not come about through any legislation on the part of any American government, but through the fact that Africa was suddenly on the stage of the world, and Africans had to be dealt with in a way that had never been dealt with before. This gave an American Negro for the first time a sense of himself beyond a savage or a clown. It has created, and will create, a great many conundrums. One of the great things that the white world does not know, but I think I do know, is that black people are just like everybody else. One has used the myth of Negro and the myth of color to pretend and to assume that you are dealing essentially with something exotic, bizarre, and practically, according to human laws, unknown. Alas, it is not true. We are also mercenaries, dictators, murderers, liars. We are human too. What is crucial here is that unless we can manage to establish some kind of dialogue between those people whom I pretend has paid for the American dream, and those other people who have not achieved it, we will be in terrible trouble. I want to say at the end, at the last, is that is what concerns me most. We are sitting in this room, and we are all, at least we like to think we are, relatively civilized, and we can talk to each other at least on certain levels, so that we could walk out of here assuming that the measure of our enlightenment, or at least our politeness, has some effect on the world. It may not. I remember, for example, when the ex-Attorney General, Mr. Robert Kennedy, said that it was conceivable that in 40 years in America we might have a Negro president. And that sounded like a very emancipated statement, I suppose, to white people. They were not in Harlem when this statement was first heard, and did not hear, and possibly will never hear, the laughter and the bitterness and the scorn with which the statement was greeted. From the point of view of the man in the Harlem barbershop, Bobby Kennedy only got here yesterday. And now he's already on his way to the presidency. We've been here for 400 years, and now he tells us that maybe in 40 years, if you're good, we may let you become president. What is dangerous here is the turning away from anything any white American says. The reason for the political hesitation, in spite of the Johnson landslide, is the one who's been betrayed by American politicians for so long. And I'm a grown man, and perhaps I can be reasoned with. I certainly hope I can be. But I don't know, and neither does Martin Luther King, none of us know how to deal with those other people whom the white world has so long ignored, who don't believe anything the white world says, and don't entirely believe anything I or Martin say. And one can't blame them. You watch what has happened to them in less than 20 years. It seems to me that the city of New York, for example, this is my last point, which has had Negroes in it for a very long time. If the city of New York were able, as it has indeed been able, in the last 15 years to reconstruct itself, tear down buildings and raise great new ones, downtown and for money, and has done nothing whatever except build housing projects in the ghetto for the Negroes. And of course the Negroes hate it. Presently the property does indeed deteriorate because the children cannot bear it. They want to get out of the ghetto. If the American pretensions were based on more solid, a more honest assessment of life and of themselves, it would not mean for Negroes, when someone says urban renewal, that Negroes simply are going to be thrown out into the streets, which is what it does mean now. This is not an act of God. We're dealing with a society made and ruled by men. If the American Negro had not been present in America, I am convinced that the history of the American labor movement would be much more edifying than it is. It is a terrible thing for an entire people to surrender to the notion that 1/9 of its population is beneath them. And until that moment, until the moment comes when we, the American people, are able to accept the fact that I have to accept, for example, that my ancestors are both white and black, that on that continent we are trying to forge a new identity for which we need each other, and that I am not a ward of America. I am not an object of missionary charity. I am one of the people who built the country. Until this moment, there is scarcely any hope for the American dream, because the people who are denied participation in it, by their very presence, will wreck it. And if that happens, it's a very grave moment for the West. Thank you.
Please welcome Yasmin to the lit stage.
Hey yo, it's your boy Romeo, and Romeo Franklin Productions and the legendary group G-Style. Well look here, we about to take y'all way back, and right about now, I'd like to introduce you to this young lady, and she go by the name of Yasmin. Baby girl, let's go.
Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom.
Let me get funky, so funky that I'm gon' kick a style. And if the style move, you won't hit the flow and get buck wild. Deep in my city, and that's my city of Tennessee. Rhythm and blues, wanna break it down, call it Memphis G. Where people let people and see my people that's coming up. Gangsta walk is the style, been on the juke and again, but, you wanna get bucked like the bass flow. Rhyme style profiling, it's Yasmin, here we go. Pump up the bass, want you to bring in some treble clef. Step in my spot, and all my haters step to the left. Sleek chick, real boss, baby, I'ma do my thing. Shout out to them pioneers, Romeo Whip and Hurricane. Friday night, Studio D, where the gangsters walkers meet. Everybody from they hood, with they people feeling good. Through the dope, to the flow, in the circle, here we go. Getting crunk, catch a bow, getting buzzed, you know.
Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom.
G-Style originators a gangster walk. Hook up a video, then taught you the gangster walk. You acting like you ain't know where it all started, man. G-Style ain't legendary, you talking retarded, man. Godfather Romeo, Lil Whip Hurricane. Best of the best, I put that on my departed, man. Daddy ain't done yet, I told him stay on the porch. Keep spending money, baby, just give me the torch. I'm in the game now, la mama too much. I'm in the game now, la mama be clutch. Style is high, I keep on swaying like sauna. Step in the crowd, take off my belt and I clear the corner. Romeo, Lil Wolf, and Hurricane came along with a style that changed the game. First they showed them, then they blew 'em. Out the frame, give it to me. Yasmin, you know my name.
Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, boom. Rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rat-tat-tat, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle, rattle, tattle. Get booked, get booked, get booked, get booked. I came to get cooked, get cooked, get cooked, get cooked. I came to get cooked, get booked, get booked, get booked. I came to get cooked, get cooked, get cooked, get cooked.
Hey, it's your girl Lit Lovely Lisa from Lit Lovely Lisa TV, and I'm live on my set. I'm here with a young artist here. Her name is Yasmin. She just got done blessing my stage. Oh my God, you are so talented.
Thank you.
Can you tell everyone where you're from?
I was originally born in Aurora, Illinois, but I was raised in Memphis.
Oh wow. So who inspired you to be an artist?
Well, when I was dancing is my passion, so that's something I've always loved. But rapping honestly just came from my godfather. Some of you might know him. He's a Memphis legend. His name is Romeo. He was a part of the G-Style group that came out with the whole little rat-a-tat stuff. So he brought rap into my attention and I just went for it.
Wow, you are so talented. And it seemed like you just so talented in so many things. When you got on stage, you just started dancing, moving around. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even keep my eye off. Oh my goodness, you just hard to not watch.
Thank you.
You know, I don't say that about a lot of artists, but you are hard to not watch. Because you have so many moves and so many things going on. Do you write your own songs?
I have help, but as far as now, because this is my first year writing, at first I was having help, but now I'm doing it on my own.
Wow. So what are some of the new projects that you're working on now?
Well, I've already recorded it, but I got this song called First Round that I'm about to put out really soon, and I'm so excited because this song is just a hit to me. So,
Is this a single or you working on a mixtape or album? What you got going?
I'll leave that one as a surprise.
Oh, cut up. Well, I'm looking forward to all of that. Who is someone that you look up to in the industry?
I think I had two people that I looked up to, and they would have to be Sierra and Tiana Taylor. They are just amazing performers to watch, dancing and singing and rapping wise. They're all around entertainer, and that's how I want to be.
I get it. From seeing you perform and the artists that you just named, I get it. I totally get it. So for those that want to show you love, follow everything that you want to do, give out some of your social media handles.
All right, everybody. So again, my name is Yasmin. I do go by Princess Yasmin. If you want to hear me up on Facebook, follow me on there. My name is Princess Yasmin on Facebook, YAZMINE. And on Instagram, it is Princess Yasmin _. So yeah, get at your girl.
See, there you have it. Yasmin, I told y'all she's something hot. Thank you so much for being a guest here on WLisa TV.
No problem. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Yasmin, aka Princess Yasmin, and I just want to give a major shout out to Lit Lovely Lisa TV for having your girl on here and doing her thing. So if you want to follow me on social media, you get me on Facebook at Princess Yasmin, catch me on Instagram at Princess Yasmin _, and catch me on iTunes, just Yasmin.
After slavery was abolished and the Reconstruction era was coming towards an end, a new set of laws emerged in the United States, the Jim Crow laws. These laws were meant to return Southern states to an antebellum class structure by marginalizing Black Americans, making it legal to force them to use separate facilities than their superior counterparts.
We had to drink from colored water fountains. We had to sit in the back of the bus. Whenever we would go to a theater, we would have to sit in the balcony. So discrimination and segregation was all around us.
The Jim Crow laws were meant to establish the rights of white Americans to treat their Black counterparts as separate but equal. However, as segregation became more common, the phrase equally began to lose its meaning. For more than half a century, the words separate but equal plagued the United States. The doctrine of separate but equal provided the legal basis for racial segregation from 1896 to 1954. Of all the places that the Jim Crow laws hurt, the most poignant was the education system, where millions of individuals were denied higher education due to the amount of melanin in their skin. Due to segregation, schools for Blacks and whites had to be separate. Black schools received far less money than white schools, causing the conditions of their schools to be completely different. They were less maintained, more crowded, and did not have enough money to provide their students with proper materials and instructors. In 1954, the Supreme Court made the decision to end the tragedy of segregation in public education facilities in Brown v. Board of Education. This was based upon the fact that the separation of students in public schools infringed the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, as separate facilities are inherently unfair. This decision affected many universities across the South, including the University of Memphis, then known as Memphis State University. Desegregated schools sent shockwaves for half a decade through the segregated Tennessean culture and created racially charged campus atmospheres. After a decade of protests and multiple attempts to desegregate Memphis State, in 1955, the NAACP filed a lawsuit in hopes of integrating the University of Memphis. The case was won due to the fact that the state's laws were unconstitutional. The judge also ordered for African Americans to be added under the State Board of Education's Measured Integration Plan. Afterwards, the NAACP's branch in Memphis chose the city's highest academically excelling African American high schoolers to join Memphis State University. They were Luther McClellan, Marvis Nealon Jones, Sammy Johnson, Ralph Prater, Eleanor Gandy, Rose Blakeney Love, Bertha Rogers Looney, and John Simpson. However, after trying to enroll in the fall of 1958, the 8 chosen graduates' entries were postponed for a year after the president of the school, J. Millard Smith, petitioned for the delay, claiming that Memphis was not at all ready for integration.
It was our right to be there. I mean, how dare they keep us out? How dare they keep us out? My parents were paying property taxes, and we had every right in the world to be there.
After months, finally, 8 African American students, later coined with the name Memphis State 8, against all odds and racial barriers, set foot onto the campus of Memphis State University.
There were several cars that had Confederate flags on them, and of course they were driving up and down the campus, throughout the campus on the first day.
On the students' first day of university, terms and strict conditions were placed on them.
To begin with, we had to be off the campus by noon. Number 2, we could not go into the student center. There were only, I think, 1 restroom that we were allowed to use. We were not allowed to take physical education. We were not allowed to go to the football games or the basketball games. Those were off limits to us.
As if these tragedies were not enough, the Memphis State 8's direction of schooling was not in their control either. The administration of the university did not ask these students what they wanted to major in or if they wanted a counselor. The Memphis State 8 were also placed in different classes and orientation sessions with different professors and classmates so that they could not see one another. Besides the restrictions, the 8 students felt anything but excited and welcome.
The peers at U of M would simply just ignore us in the classroom, us meaning the black student. The professors ignored us. We raise our hand, we would not be recognized.
However, these African American students sacrificed the college life that they could have experienced for civil rights and for the right to have integrated education. After the first year, the number of African Americans that enrolled into the University of Memphis increased, and restrictions were lifted over time. The courage that the Memphis State 8 showed influenced others to become a part of the movement. As of now, the student campus is 36.5% African American. The University of Memphis is ranked one of America's top producers of African American graduates. On September 18, 2012, the University of Memphis honored the Memphis State 8 by placing a plaque on campus about their story, so that future generations could learn about the struggles they went through to integrate the U of M.
It gave, as a forerunner for those who would do things that would come after. It also led to years later when we would be elected the first African-American mayor of the city of Memphis, also the first African-American superintendent. I think our going there has had some impact on the things that came after. And all, by the way, the sit-in in 1960 at the library, perhaps, that could have been a part of our taking part, our standing for what we thought was right.
The path that these individuals chose was not the easy one, but it was the one that would change the history of not only the University of Memphis, but the history of the fight for equal and higher education in America.
Lit Lovely Lisa TV. She lit, she lit.